What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another video today, and in this video we are at Des Moines International Airport for the 50th airport update for the month of January 2025. We have made it to 50 updates for the Des Moines International Airport, so today I just want to go through this update and then reflect on how far this airport has come since I started it, and just seeing how it's progressed, how the diorama's progressed, and just everything in between, just looking back on just some memories on the channel, really. That's what we'll be doing at the end of the video. But as always, we do have a bunch of cool airplanes to take a look at, so we'll go ahead and get started at gate A1. We start off here with this Allegiant A320 coming in from Fort Lauderdale, aka Fort Lauderdale, as flight 449, and this arrived in at 3:46 p.m. ahead of a scheduled 3:50 p.m. arrival. Next month, Fort Lauderdale to Des Moines is going to be a thrice weekly service operating on Sundays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. A little bit later into the month, that first full week, it's just twice weekly earlier in the week. But once we do get towards the end of the month, that will go up to 3 frequencies every week. So nice to see the extra services applied to this route. And go ahead and move on down to our next aircraft, Southwest in the house. 737-700 today from St. Louis. Flying in as flight 2269 at 12:08 p.m. ahead of a scheduled 12:20 p.m. arrival. And we move on over to our next aircraft, United. Kind of about hanging off the edge of the diorama here. I'll talk a little bit more about it at the end of the video. But for right now, this 738 Evo, this aircraft came in from Chicago O'Hare as flight 630 at 9:37 p.m. ahead of a scheduled 9:52 p.m. arrival. We'll move on over to the next aircraft, which we've got Steve the Eagle, and for once this is an accurate representation of a real-life flight. And we actually have 2 of them in this update, so see if you can figure out what the second one is. I'm not going to give any clues or anything. We'll see if you're able to put it together. At any rate, we continue with this Frontier A321, which arrived in from Orlando International as flight 1867 at 10:30 a.m. delayed from a 9:57 a.m. scheduled arrival. So with regards to Frontier out of MCO to Des Moines, it's going to be twice weekly, starting off Sundays and Fridays, and then in the latter half of the month, that Sunday frequency will move up to Mondays. So pretty interesting to see this service, because I remember with Sioux Falls, we had this for a couple months in, I think it was 2021, if I remember right. That only lasted a couple of months before that got quietly discontinued. And I know this has been brought up on other channels before, but Frontier, they have a strong tendency to add a bunch of routes and then cut a bunch of them, add another 20, 30, 40 routes, and then cut another half of those, and that kind of stuff, which I think is a bit ridiculous that they're so inconsistent with adding and cutting routes that they just need to stick with whatever game plan that they have and roll with it. They can't be swapping around from plan A to plan B to plan Z to plan, 172. Just they keep switching things around. It's ridiculous. So we'll see if this service lasts, but based on what I can find, it's at least going to last for a month here, so that's at least a start, but hopefully it can last longer than a month. And then moving on over, there is a United Express aircraft, which, again, the tripod not high enough to complete the, whatever you call it, just clearing the height of the terminal here, but here it is, United Express Embraer 175 wearing the Evo colors. This came in from Chicago O'Hare as flight 6968, operated by SkyWest. Why the height flight number, I don't know. And this arrived at 11:30 a.m. ahead of a scheduled 11:35 a.m. arrival. And now we'll move on over to Concourse C. Quite a few planes over on that side. And again, you'll note this part of the diorama not being used due to the construction for the new terminal. So as that continues, we'll continue to follow updates on that. I don't have any for this update, so we'll check back again next month with regards to any updates. But at gate Charlie 1, this Delta Connection CRJ 900 came in from New York LaGuardia as flight 4904, which is an Endeavor Air operated flight today. And this arrived in at 6:52 p.m. ahead of a scheduled 7:05 p.m. arrival with a Papa X-ray registration suffix. And then there is the Mad Pup, always a staple for these updates, the Delta 717 from Atlanta. This is flight 2086 today, the mid-afternoon flight, which is arriving in just 7 minutes behind schedule today at 3:35 p.m. So always nice to include this aircraft in this update, and I kind of want to get one that has the eyebrow windows because this one does not have it. I think the latest Gemini release, if I remember right, that one had it, I think. I'm trying to remember, but it's not coming to me right now. But I don't know, it is something for consideration if I just want to add more models, but I don't really like to go to the point where it's almost a duplicate, and obviously not an exact duplicate because of the different registration and other details, but that's just kind of my collecting preferences. We move on to the American A319, the LUS airframe today from DFW. And this arrived on its flight 1710 at 4:35 p.m. ahead of a scheduled 4:59 p.m. arrival, arriving in well ahead of schedule by 24 minutes today. And I saw there was a CRJ 900 PSA operated one on the schedule as well from DFW. So interesting to see that they must be cycling them through DFW right now. But moving on, we have another American Eagle aircraft. This CRJ 200 is an Air Wisconsin operated one as always, and heard the news that they're actually going to be discontinuing these very soon. So in the next couple of months, they're going to move to solely like charter operations and all that. So unfortunately, this aircraft's going to be retired once again. But it had a good run on the airport updates. It certainly had a good run. Not sure what it's going to mean for the El Guapo plane, which I have right here. I don't know what it's going to mean for this, but I think these are going to stick around, so they will be used. I think they talked about like charters that they were going to be used for Air Wisconsin, so I'm guessing they're probably just going to turn to some type of charter airline. I don't know. I have to look more into the details of that, but it is interesting to note that this CRJ 200 came in from Chicago O'Hare as flight 6048 at 4:21 p.m. ahead of a scheduled 4:34 p.m. arrival. And then our final aircraft, which again I'll take you guys off the tripod here, we'll move on to this American A320, the CFM second release. And this arrived in from Charlotte as flight 1823, and this arrived in at 9:40 p.m. ahead of a scheduled 10:05 p.m. arrival. And there it is, Des Moines' 50th airport update in the books. So this last part of the video, I don't know how long this is going to take me here, but this last part of the video is just, I'm going to go over all the updates that I have done for this airport in the about 4.5, 5 years that it's been in operation. There's been several months where this airport didn't happen back when my original policy with airport updates was if I wasn't going to do it on the Friday that I scheduled it for, I would just move it to next month. And obviously that resulted in a lot of holes in the schedules when more conflicts came to be, especially with college and all that, so it was best that I just moved to a new policy where I'll just move it to the next Monday or Wednesday or whatever opening there is in my schedule. And now, since I've got a lot of videos on the schedule, it is a little more difficult to find an opening, if you will, with regards to rescheduling an airport update like Des Moines or anything else in general if it gets delayed because of a conflict. And the last few times it's been weather with big snowstorms and all that, so we'll see. Hopefully there isn't any on the schedule. Well, let's go ahead and take a look back at the Des Moines International Airport and just see how far it's progressed and where it's come from. So I started the series in June of 2020. That was the first time that I had the Des Moines International Airport on my channel. And I used to plane spot there many years ago, back when I was in the area, but have not featured it on my YouTube outside of that. So I'd love to go plane spotting there, but I just never get the time to go down there. So we'll have to change that later on. For some reason I skipped out on July. I don't know why I did that, but I note that it goes straight from June to August, so I don't know. I think I had some conflict or something that month, but I can't remember what. November, that month was missed, and then January was also missed. March also out as well, so yeah, plenty of months where an update didn't happen back in the early days of this series, but eventually became more consistent. And then once we reached the 1-year anniversary, the 11th airport update for August of 2021, that's when I introduced the current diorama. Decided to give it a complete makeover to cover up any of the remaining empty space, because this is actually built on top of just an old dresser. So I know it's kind of weird to have an airport diorama on a dresser, but I like to utilize the space as optimal as I can, and this is certainly a good place to put this type of diorama on. But long term, I don't know what I'm going to do with this, when I get my own place and all that, and I'm sure I'll bring this dresser with, but whether or not this is going to continue as the residence for DSM is to be seen. But yeah, August 2021 updated the diorama and debuted it in that month's airport update. And then just continuing on, really, a lot of fun little titles in there. And there's another break in January 2022, which I think actually did miss out July that year as well. But I remember the January one, I missed out on that one because of illness. Fortunate stomach flu. Ugh, those are not pretty. But we spring into action, and I remember the Foolish Airport update as well. That was the April Fool's one I did with 2022. I think I swapped intros between Connor and myself. So we decided to play a little trick on that, and I think, yeah, quite a few of you caught on to that. And then moved towards the end of 2022, just a lot of the regular stuff really for a normal airport, different changes to the movements, nothing too unusual really. And then once again, we missed out on January for 2023. I think this past January, that was the first time that we had a actual airport update. Now, I do notice I did have 2 airport updates in Des Moines for October of 2023, and I think that might have been to make up for lost time since I didn't have any in January or in any earlier months. So that was interesting to have 2 of them in there, but yeah, made up some time there. And then thankfully January 2024 actually did have an airport update for Des Moines in the first month of the year, and that's what we have here again this year. That was a winter storm special. I remember there was a big winter storm that moved through, and that completely shut everything down. I think I had to reschedule that update, actually, now that I think about it, because of a winter storm. Did an all-in-one take, new scenery, so I basically just moved the diorama. It used to be up against this wall, but I just moved it right here now, because I wanted some extra room between my Sioux Falls diorama and Des Moines diorama, which it gets pretty crowded in here. And then did a fun airport update with friends. So I had a few of my friends join me in an update that took a little longer to record, of course, since we had a lot of fun. And construction updates, of course, they've been coming out in the last several updates, and a little irregular since I've been able to find too many updates, really, but I am always seeking out for those updates when that come out, whether it's from local news or from the airport itself, etc., etc. So yeah, I mean, that's just kind of the history of DSM, the airport update series on my channel, with regards to all the different videos that I've uploaded of this airport. And yeah, missed out on quite a few months early on, but thankfully the change of policy with rescheduled airport updates has reintroduced the series to a lot of different months over the course of the year. And of course, if an update can't happen on the scheduled day, it'll just get moved to the following day. And obviously with my schedule now having 3 weekly videos, that means that you'll likely see it on the Saturday or Sunday or Tuesday, Thursday, since those are my other open days that I usually have. And, I'm sure that'll change as well with extra content that I may or may not add as we head through the year. And then, of course, into the summer with all the big events coming up. That will certainly be fun to cover those, and we'll see what happens if we do have to reschedule an update for any possible conflicts or anything of that nature. So that's it. That's my reflection on nearly 5 years of doing this series. And again, not sure what the long-term plan is for all my airport updates once I get out of college and go do my own thing. I don't know what the plan is going to be for that. Just all depends on what comes together and where I'll be at and just what else happens. I certainly don't want to discontinue anything because I get busy, but if it comes down to that, then unfortunately that'll have to be the thing that I have to do. So hopefully it doesn't come down to that, but if it does, you'll be informed as to any big changes that come to the channel in the next couple of years. But again, I want to continue doing YouTube for as long as I can, but just don't know where I'll be at in, 5 years or 10 years or even, 2 years from now. Things change on a dime around here, and especially being in college, you never know. A lot of opportunities can present themselves, and you just got to go take them if they suit you best. And I'll do it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next video.